Recently, a study indicated that Alabama was ranked 46 out of the 50 states in overall health rankings. Part of the reason for this is that we, like many other states, simply don't have enough primary care providers to take care of the needs of our almost 5 million residents. Many of those current primary care providers are nearing the age of retirement, and there just don't seem to be enough graduating medical students to replace them. This is especially significant in our rural counties. Almost 85% of the 67 counties in Alabama are considered rural. Many of them don't have a provider, many of them don't have a hospital, and they have to drive for long distances to get health care.
Well, manufacturing, of course, is the primary job focus that we look at in economic development. I work for Entergy, and we cover 45 counties in the state. All of those counties are along the western half of the state of Mississippi, which primarily is those counties that border the Mississippi River. And a lot of counties in the Mississippi Delta that trickle on down into some of southwest Mississippi are in more impoverished areas and are lacking some of the resources that other counties in the state have.
I think this type of project is very important because it will help us retain talent of students that are currently in middle school throughout hopefully their college careers. Even if they go to college somewhere else and come back, we want them to be a part of our rural healthcare pipeline. It helps us grow the talent that's here so that we keep those and won't have the healthcare shortages that we currently face across healthcare in Alabama.
If you notice, the state of Alabama in this map is sectioned into 5 different regions, with each of them represented by a nonprofit center or an AHEC, an Area Health Education Center. Studies have shown us that students that grow up in rural counties are more likely to go back home and practice in those areas, especially in the healthcare industry.
I have seen now a time in my career where I have been working more closely with K through 12 career tech centers and community college workforce training centers, going in to meet with those directors to better understand what their programs of work are, what some of the training is that's taking place in those community colleges, and the programs that are generating the most highest numbers of enrollment, and also to try to shift some of that toward some of the manufacturing preparedness.
What I see coming out of this program is that we will have more students who are be willing to stay here in their hometown. And also, I can personally speak for myself. I'm from this area, graduated from South Panola. I wanted to always have a dream of working at South Panola, school district. So this is home for me. And so I truly believe with this program, it'll show other students or children that, hey, there are some opportunities here for you that you're interested in. And I'm hoping that with this program, it'll open their eyes up, with people coming in from Integer or they go and shadow somebody at a different job. It can show them, hey, this is something I'm interested in. I never thought about that. I didn't know we had these type jobs in Batesville. And so I'm hoping that this program will open their eyes up to see what we have to offer so that they will be willing to stay around.
I would say that the biggest issue that we face in our state is just the parental knowledge and support of, career tech education, and understanding that those types of jobs can pay just as well as a job of someone that obtains a 4-year degree, or they can pay even better than a lot of those who obtain a 4-year degree. So we're at a time where we're having to try to go into communities and talk to not only community leaders, but everyday residents about the importance of a career tech education and how it can pay off in the long run.
I am really encouraged about this project in the future. Our center just hosted our Discovery Med Camp 2 weeks ago. Each of the centers develops the pipeline program and offers summer camps, They offer mentoring opportunities where young students are exposed to different types of healthcare careers. So I'm really encouraged that through our programs, we're going to help students make better choices about healthcare. And we have great academic and community partners that walk right alongside us and are committed to the long-term goal of creating greater health in Alabama.
In the future, I think this program can grow to be a part of our CTE curriculum, the Career Technical Education Program's curriculum, or a component of that program. This pilot project is very important to Alabama simply because we don't have something now that we can grow into students actually going away and coming back home. We may not have all of the educational programs here in rural Alabama. They may have to go to some of the bigger cities, Birmingham, Huntsville, Montgomery, to get the programs they want to major in. We want them to know that coming back home to rural Alabama is an option for healthcare here. And if that's a part of our CTE program, to expose students to rural healthcare and expose them to job shadowing opportunities here in rural Alabama, and expose them to mentors who are right here in rural Alabama practicing healthcare, whether it's medical, nursing, dentists, any of those fields, they have an option to stay right here at home and to help us develop the pipelines and career opportunities for those here.
So speaking of mentor programs, especially in the rural areas, when we really look at who's most likely to become a family physician, it's going to be someone who grew up in a rural area, someone that came from a household where no one has gone to college or has never been a physician in that household. And so trying to get physicians from rural areas to get back into rural areas is our best hope of supplying doctors to the rural areas. And we know that most people that are successful, especially if you've never had anyone to go to college or medical school, are going to have to be mentored by someone. And in the rural areas, it needs to start at a young age. So middle school, high school, someone that they can look up to, someone that's a role model, someone that can sort of take them under the wing and give them direction to get there.
Well, in middle school begins the development of, those questions of what do I want to be and who am I? So at the middle school age, it's important to really for those kids to have mentors and for them to be able to go and just experience, whether it's volunteering, whether it's observation hours, just getting involved with other, medical professions if that's what they're interested in. Mostly that's what I tell students that come to me and they have questions about, well, what is this? And, or at career fairs and they're kind of interested in getting to know, what is it that a physical therapist does? And the only way to get them really involved is getting them into the setting and seeing if that's something that they can see themselves doing.
I grew up in a rural area, grew up in a poor family. No one in my family had ever gone to college. My special circumstance was, unfortunately, my father had a disease called hemophilia, and he was in and out of the local hospital. We did have a small community hospital, and he was in and out of the local hospital. And so I grew up around physicians, not in my family, but because of the needs of my family. And in those communities, family physicians is about all we had. I was put in a special place that I was around family physicians who role modeled care and concern for my family, and I wanted to do that when I grew up.
I never thought that I would be back in a small town. That was probably the last place that I thought that I would be coming out of high school. But once you go out and you see everything and you're like, you know what? I want to be able to bring really good quality care back home to Andalusia, back home to Bruton. So I would, if anybody were to call me on the phone tomorrow and say, hey, can I just come and see what you do for a day or a half a day? My answer is always yes. I love to have kids come in and be interested with what I'm doing and just my profession in general. So I know that any other physical therapist would love to have middle schoolers just excited about learning about what we do as physical therapists.
I say to the states that I'm representing right now, Mississippi and Alabama, our whole Delta region, the investment must be made if we're going to compete with the rest of the world. We have people that live in our states. Healthcare is a vital industry that we have to have students know about and learn about, as well as manufacturing. So we've got to keep that investment going.
In the utmost northern part of our state, in DeSoto County, there is a program that has recently developed called Teachers Touring Industry. And the teachers from the middle schools are taking some select students into different manufacturing plants, and they're learning the processes of those plants. They are actually seeing the product from the beginning until the final phases being in production in those plants. And it has been a tremendous resource and skill set that the students are getting hands-on experience, and the teachers are learning more about these processes so that they can implement more of that into their curriculum in the classroom.
Business. This is a whole new world, and we need to let everybody see what it is, to keep a positive mindset about the careers that are out there. And there's no better way to do that by taking them to a site or having guest speakers come in and speak one-on-one with the students. If the parents want to come, let the parents come. Let everybody come, but having someone actually come into your school system, sit, talk with your students, let your students ask questions, let them be a real life person that's done something. There's actually a human being in front of you that is doing something that you might want to do. And if they can do it, as we always tell our kids, you can do it too.